America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Every report of action taken in closed session. I take motion of Students Education Code 35146, 489-818. The board voted 4-0 to approve stipulated expulsion for student ID 1059999 for one calendar year commencing on 12/19/24 through 12/19/25. Student will be eligible to return 12/20/25. We will now move forward with the best part of the meeting, student representatives. We will start with OHS Simulina.
Superintendent Dr. Vitale, President Alvarez, and esteemed board members. I'm Simulina, ASB meeting commissioner, and I'm proud to represent Ocean High School, home of Pirates. Tonight, I'll go over OHS Pride, including Pirate of the Month, MJROTC, APR history, a photography field trip, and apology services. Next, I'll talk about our pirate spirit, including our class photo, Fall Spirit Week, and our amazing theater department. Last but not least, I will discuss our OHS athletics, including track and field and boys and girls basketball. Next slide, please. That's right. Next slide. And back to the next slide. Okay. What's going to happen after that? First up, NJROTC. We competed amazingly with the other 20 schools. The color guard earned third place for varsity color guard inspection, so we did not walk away empty-handed. Next up, APR history. APR history has had a busy month. APR history students visited the Getty Museum and got to see beautiful works by artists as they studied the course. Along with their final project, $1 Million Listing. In our course, they studied 60 works of architecture. Students assumed the roles of real estate agents tasked with creating a one-pager to sell one of the properties. Now to photography. Students visited the Michelin Star restaurant in LA for food photography. You can see some examples on screen. Next slide. Our OHS theater department has put on an amazing Shakespearean comedy, Much Ado About Nothing, and went on an amazing field trip to see a Deaf West projection of American Idiot at the Mark Taper Theater in LA. They were so excited to meet the cast and talk to the folks at the Center Theater Group. As the theater advisor says, it's the best thing ever to be able to give these kids incredible experiences like that. We also took our 2027 class photo, as you can see on screen. Next slide. Our girls' varsity basketball team has won 4 out of 7 games this season. Our boys' basketball team has won 5 out of 9. Our track and field team did very well in their latest meets. And last but not least, our OHS competitive cheer team won first at their last tournament. Slide 6. At Oceanside High School, we have a large array of appreciation for our students as well as our staff. The Proud Pirate Award is given to Fatima Ahmed, and the Bountiful Pirate Award goes to Sherry Swanson. Our OHS Rising Star is Ashley Colares Samiros. Now, on to our Pirates of the Month. 9th grade, Mika Tuli. 10th grade, Cassie Robinson. 11th grade, Malia Davis. And 12th grade, Ivor Zelfit. Once again, my name is Simulina, representing Oceanside High School, the home of Pirates. And as always, go Pirates!
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to Board President Ms. Alvarez and the rest of the board members, to Superintendent Dr. Vitale and our executive staff, and all who are present this evening for giving me the time to speak. My name is Araceli Dino Chavez, and I'm the ASB President and Student Representative for El Camino High School. ASB proudly hosted a mini pep rally on November 8th to celebrate the achievements of our fall sports. Thank you to all of the athletes and coaches for their hard work this season. On November 12th, our Wildcats were honored with the prestigious President's Volunteer Service Award for their outstanding dedication to community service. A big congratulations to these remarkable students for their commitment to our community. For our ECHL NHS Rising Star, we have Natalie, who is a dedicated and hardworking student who exemplifies leadership and determination. She is involved with many social clubs at school and volunteers frequently in her community. On November 13th, the ECTV visited the ABC 10 studio in San Diego, where students had a unique opportunity to meet anchors, reporters, producers, and directors. Congratulations to our football athletes for advancing to the semifinals and facing off against San Marcos on November 22nd. We are proud of their determination and teamwork. Our Bureau program provided invaluable support to our seniors by assisting with their college applications. Huge thank you to Bureau for helping students prepare for the future, including myself. The students in the drama department did an amazing job in putting out the production Little Woman, a classic novel directed by our drama advisor, Mrs. Fagan. NHS Cocoa Cram, about 200 students showed up and engaged in completing final assessments and getting help to prepare for finals. NHS officers did a great job with the logistics, setup, tutoring, and cleanup. For performing arts, we have our talented and amazing performers who did an outstanding job on their winter shows. Our choir performed alongside their special guest, the MLK Choir. The dance show was sold out again this year, and orchestra delighted their audience with special musical arrangements of holiday music. This concludes my presentation for tonight. Thank you all for your attention and time. Have a great evening.
We'll have Surfside Leah Gramathon.
Good evening, Board President Alvarez, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Vitale. I'm Chevy Placencia from Surfside Educational Academy. I'm happy to be here tonight, and even happier to tell you that today I graduated early from Surfside. Thank you. And plan to attend the Technology Career Institute in January to start working on manufacturing engineering certificates. We are excited to share that our campus modernization is progressing rapidly. Last week, 31 concrete trucks poured the footing for a retaining wall along the western boundary. Most utilities are already installed, and the new parking lot should be ready by the end of January. Congratulations to our December Rising Star, Lana Melnichuk. Lana fled Ukraine when the war started and has more than successfully navigated the move. She speaks 4 languages, enjoys playing the piano, and is making stellar academic progress and is on track to graduate early. She attributes her success to Surfside's flexible and caring independent study program. Way to go, Lana! We celebrated our second quarter graduates of the class of 2025. Whether it's attending Maricosta, Palomar, out-of-state universities, or trade school, our graduates continue to impress us. We are growing. Our middle school moved into a larger classroom to fit the increasing enrollment. Students continue working with their 3D printer and are even creating their very own graphic design club. A lot has been going on at Surfside, and here are just a few examples. First, students and staff celebrated World Kindness Day with the help of our wonderful past mentor, Ms. Kaylee, and local business Seaside Flowers and Gifts. Mr. Newman took his earth science students on an exciting field trip to the Calavera volcano. They hiked, explored, and studied geology. This is another example of Surfside's commitment to hands-on learning and to fostering a love for education. Surfside is happy to have had several guest speakers who offered insight into various post-secondary options, including a firefighter paramedic, a representative from the technology Career Institute, and a rep from Front Wave Credit Union. Congratulations to Leah Ramakov and Linda Valencia. They joined other Surfside students who have earned their college level certificate in our CTE pathway hospitality, tourism, and recreation. The next class in the sequence will begin in January. Basketball season has started with 4 games complete and will continue into January when we return. Go Sharks! This month, as part of Surfside's welcoming environment, we're hosting daily lunchtime games, fun Fridays with snow cones and grateful grams, and an exciting holiday door decoration contest. Our annual holiday raffle has brought endless smiles, allowing students to earn tickets by demonstrating our core values, self-direction, effective communication, and accountable citizenship. The holiday pop-up shop is open all week for students to find gifts for themselves and family. Thank you all for listening. Happy holidays and have a wonderful evening.
And again, congratulations on graduating. I'll make a motion to approve agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. It is now my great pleasure to administrate the oath of office for our re-elected incumbent board members, Eleanor Evans and Mike Blessing. Before I ask you to stand up and take the oath of office, I just want to share some of your accomplishments over the last 7 years that this board has been seated together. You have updated curriculum K-12, previously material. These are just highlights, although by the way, this is not an exhaustive list. Updated curriculum K-12 when previously materials were up to 20 years old. You've overseen the improved graduation rate, and in this last year, we're the only unified school district to have an improved graduation rate. More students are taking advanced placement courses than ever before, including offering Spanish AP at grade 8. We have the most students in North County taking dual enrollment classes at Miracosta. We have professional pathways at both high schools for students all high schools who want to go directly to the workforce. Personal one-to-one devices for all students, where previously we had only one computer lab at every school. We have 21st century educational technology in all classrooms. New flexible furniture in all elementary classrooms. Over $1.5 million for library books K-12. Both high school libraries completely renovated. You led the passing of a $160 million bond, which has allowed us to ensure all schools are in great shape and either modernized or in the process of being modernized. You've also allocated funding for a new district office on the administrative side and maintenance and operations, which are all currently in the building and or planning process. You've improved safety and security with the visitor management system, exterior cameras at all sites, cameras in the classroom, and an immediate notification system. Suspensions have dropped by 111% at our secondary schools. We've earned millions of dollars in various grants, including DODEA, CTE, Workforce Development, Science of Reading, Conflict Resolution, CalShape, and more. We've expanded our arts program to all K-5 students. You approved a solar project for every school site that will save the district millions of dollars. And you have ensured that our budget is positive when previously it was qualified and or negative. So please, Mike Blessing and Eleanor Evans, stand up to take your oath of office. Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
Mike Blessing,
Eleanor Evans. Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
You have to repeat after me.
solemnly swear
Together. That I will support and defend
I will support
and defend
defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and will bear
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution
and the Constitution of the State of California.
of the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely,
That I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully
And that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. So moving on, we will now elect our board president for the year 2025. Do I hear a motion to nominate the 2025 president of the OUSD Board of Trustees?
I'll make that motion.
We have a nomination for Stacy to serve as president. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Eleanor Evans seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations, Dr. Begin. You may now take over the meeting.
I will take it from here, Dr. Vitale. All right, moving on to item 3C, election of vice president of the board. I'll make a motion to elect or nominate Raquel Alvarez to be vice president. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Just in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item 3D, election of the clerk of the board. I'll make a motion to nominate Mike Blessing for clerk of the board. Do I have a second? We have a second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor of electing Mike Blessing for clerk, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. All right, item 3E, appointment of superintendent as secretary of the Board of Education.
I'll move Julie Vitale as the secretary to the board.
I'll second that. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Moving on to item F, approval of the 2025 Board of Education meeting schedule. So you guys take a look at that meeting schedule?
Yeah.
All right, just making sure.
Done every Tuesday.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second from Raquel? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to the last item, 3G, approval of authorized signatures for the district.
Move approval.
A first and a second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to reports. Item 4, we're going to start with item 4A, the superintendent's report. Dr. Vitale.
Yes, thank you. I have a few things to share, but first I want to start with a very special guest from Coastal Academy. We have Julia Keeler, who's going to do a special presentation to the Board of Education. Julia, do you want to come up to the podium and make someone, oh, you're tall enough, okay. All right, my dear.
You can take the mic off and actually talk into it. If you want to. Sometimes that's easier.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Julia Keeler, and I'm a student from Coastal Academy. I'm in the 5th grade, and I have a brother and sister who are in 4th grade. We love Coastal Academy very much and feel very lucky to have such a special school in Oceanside. And I appreciate you for giving us the choice to go there. There are so many things I love about Coastal Academy. I've been a student there since kindergarten, and I've loved every single teacher I had and spending time with all my friends there. And I love the unique schedule that we have. We only go to school Tuesday and Thursday. And then the rest of the week, we do Monday, Friday, Wednesday, math at home school, and I get to go at my own pace. And I also get to study with my mom. This is why we feel very fortunate to have such a hybrid school next door, like 5 minutes away to us. And my mom is also very strict, and she's that we are very good students, and that we're on top of our studies when we're at home. And this schedule not only means that we have more family time together, but we also have a unique opportunity to participate in electives, field trips, and extracurricular activities. And I also currently take tennis lessons and piano lessons. And I love the arts. At Coastal Academy, my favorite classes are STEM class and art class. And I especially love the performing arts. I am excited to say that I recently got cast in our spring musical, The Little Mermaid. I try to participate in as many school clubs and school activities that I can, which include chess club and field hockey. And I had fun recently performing at the school's talent show. There are so many wonderful things about my school, but I'd be talking here all night. I know the only reason that we have such a special school here is because that we have wonderful teachers, administrators, parents, community members, and school boards like you who support us. I would like to thank you for everything that you do for our community and for all students in Oceanside. But I would especially want to say thank you on behalf of my fellow students at Coastal Academy. As a token of our appreciation, I would like to give you a gift, which are handmade posters by our own 4th and 5th grade pottery students that are inspired by a famous abstract artist, and the coasters can be arranged into uncover a secret message. Again, I want to say thank you for allowing my family to choose Coastal Academy for me here in Oceanside, and wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Amazing, thank you. All right, we're moving on to item,
Stand by, Stacey, I'm also not done. This is Michelle Stanley, their Chief Communications Officer, taking a picture. Julie and friends from Coastal, thank you so much for that beautiful presentation. I just want to let the board, so my second update is, and you'll see the slide, we had the opportunity to watch 2 new council members being installed last week, and I just noted, as they were both being sworn in, that these are 2 OUSD graduates. Mayor Esther Sanchez went to Laurel Jefferson and graduated from Oceanside High School, and Jimmy Figueroa went to McCullough, Lincoln Middle School, and El Camino. So, though OUSD grads, you're almost dominating City Council, so congratulations both to Mayor Sanchez and Jimmy Figueroa. I also, OUSD wonderful graduates. I want to congratulate Maisha Wiggum. Maisha is going to be recognized as the Outstanding African American Educator by the National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa. Each year, the chapter recognizes exemplary African American educators and community leaders who touch the lives of children and our community in a large and profound way. Maisha will be recognized in February, and I just wanted to congratulate her here. She's not here, but we love you, Maisha, and congratulations to you. Tomorrow, you, Board of Education, are invited, and Cabinet team will be attending the Holiday of Hope event. This is the 9th year collaboration with Transformation Consultants, and we're very excited and look forward to that event where we take time to spend an evening with some of our very special families in the district. And I think Chevy left, and I think Eric Friends had left, but along with Chevy, we had 7 other early graduates at Surfside that celebrated today, and they talked about their career plans, and some of them are going on to be teachers, and and some of them are going on to earn certificates at the Technical Career Institute that they take field trips to. One student is going to TCI for welding, and we're excited for the opportunities that they have now that they've graduated early. So congratulations to all of our early grads at Surfside. And Friday is our last day of school for about 3 weeks. We're all pretty excited about that. So hopefully everyone will enjoy the time off, and indeed they're taking time off.
All right, we'll start with board reports. I'm going to start with Vice President Raquel Alvarez. Do you have a report?
Okay. I've had the opportunity to actually go see our OHS choir perform for our seniors in our community. They were able to walk over and perform multiple parts of their show that they perform for competition, and so it was amazing to see. And even just the community as a whole and our seniors appreciating the work that the students put in to just being there, one, and then just the amazing turnout of just being able to come out and perform for them, because some of them were just, you could tell that they were just not sure like how they would celebrate this time. And so being able to have students be there to celebrate them and lift them up was just an awesome time. So thank you to OHS and their choir, and to just being able to have that happen thanks to a grant they were able to receive. I was also able to go to the swearing of the mayor and city officials, and I was able to go and be a part of the swearing in today for OPD chief and our new OPD officers, and seeing that, was able to speak with some of our OPD officers that have moved into the area and have little ones that have come into the school district. So coming and seeing all of them, and then seeing the new families coming into our community and our area, and finding out where they're at, what schools they're going to, and just connecting with them. So that was just a great time to see. I was able to, before I got here, running here last minute, was to go celebrate our OYP kids. So we have a connection with Oceanside Police Department for our OYP kids. And LTH and Ace Hardware, along with our Skill USA students, have put on a holiday event for those students. So Ace Hardware and LTH, and along with community members, adopted these families, or adopted the students and their siblings to receive gifts. And so they were putting on a holiday event that was actually pretty much hosted by LTH, Ace Hardware, and our Skill USA students from OHS. So seeing the students work and put everything into play from the very first meeting that we had when LTH brought this forward to us and said, hey, we want to be able to do this, can we, and how can we do it? So having that initial first meeting, and then the students taking point from that, and then moving forward to make it now a Skill USA project that they're going to be able to go and compete with in Ontario in January, is going to be an amazing thing now to see how that comes forward, and full circle even for them. I want to put a big shout out to GEAR. They're an amazing program, and unfortunately they did not get funding for it again the way they normally do. But they have done an amazing job with our students, so anything that we can possibly do, because I want to fight for my dear life to get this group to stay within our community, because they have done an amazing job in working with our students. And I know that my kid has been a project of that group, and their people that they have working within the district. They are there to be there for our students, to fill out FAFSA, to encourage them to make sure that their homework is done, to make sure that they get tutoring any part during the day while they're at school, and even on the weekends, they're there to support our students, to get them whatever it is that they might need to get to that next step, and whether it's college or it's being a part of that the community as a whole, and what they need to be doing and how they get connected into their school sites. So that's been a great thing. I was able to go to Surfside's pop-up store today, and I love that. That's such a blessing to see our students being able to go and feel like they can bless their own people in their own house. And so it comes from them. So they're able to go and get something, and it's not there's no monetary part of it, but to them, they're just able to go and get whatever they want out of there. But then they're able to just be feel like they have accomplished something. So thank you to Surfside and all that goes into that, because there's so much work, and it starts way back when of just being able to make that happen. So that is an amazing thing. To the Holiday of Hope event that is going on tomorrow, to all the woodshop students that have been working on the reindeer. So one of the things that happens is they do reindeer for the student that is picked, and it has their names on it, so they actually get to take those home as a remembrance of this day for them. So the students, so it's peer-to-peer, so the students actually do the work, so it's cut out, they sand it, they paint it, they do every part of it. So it becomes a project from peer-to-peer for these kids, but it becomes something that they are, again, proud of, and then they can see the end result then tomorrow of the students receiving it and seeing it, because they don't know about it till tomorrow when they come to the event. So thank you to all that made that happen, because again, it wouldn't be a part, or it would never happen if it weren't part of CTE, if it weren't for the woodshop or TC being the ones who come up with this amazing event to begin with, because they start tomorrow, they start with the next year's event already. So again, thank you to Julia and your siblings and your fourth graders for your wonderful gifts, because again, this is probably the best thing so far of the meeting. But thank you, and I am so proud that you're happy that, because you came up and just spoke so impeccably about how proud you are of your school. So thank you for sharing that, because that was amazing of just how you spoke, because I could never have done that at your age. So thank you so much for just being open to share, and thank you again all. Thank you again for allowing me to be your board president for the last couple of years, and I am so happy to pass this on to Stacy. So thank you.
Thank you for that torch. All right, moving on. Mike Leslie, do you have a report?
I gave my report to Ann for the events I went to, but I would take the opportunity to just address the board and the public here on this election at the point in time that's appropriate. This was the most spirited and challenging election campaign I've ever been involved in my 16 years here. I am most grateful to the countless numbers of teachers, parents, support staff, and the many community members of all persuasions who lent their support to my successful re-election by a 6-point margin. Of particular note was the support of the Oceanside Teachers Association, the Democratic Party of San Diego, the Oceanside Democratic Club, the Democratic Club of Carlsbad and Oceanside, the Sierra Club, and Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest. I am proud all those groups supported me and found that I was a worthy candidate to represent Oceanside. My desire is to move forward and find common ground on issues where we can find them and an agreement can be reached, and to continue to ensure that the laws and policies of the state of California, by which local school districts are bound to enforce, are applied to protect opportunities for all students who show up on our classroom doorsteps every day. Much thanks to you all. And a final shout out to my board colleague, Stacy Begin, who was behind me and in front of me on every step of the way of the campaign, and this was very memorable indeed. And thank you so much.
Moving on. Nancy, you coming?
Wish everyone happy holidays, and hope that we all take time to focus on our rest and our recovery and recharging and just making meaningful connections with the people around us, our families, our friends, and our loved ones.
Thanks, Nancy. Eleanor?
Thank you. Madam President, may I have a moment of personal? Okay, all right. Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone who participated or voted in my re-election to an iconic and historic third term in the Oceanside Unified School District Board of Education. Whether you wrote or sent postcards supporting me, or made telephone calls or canvassed door to door under the blazing hot sun, or gave out handouts or put out yard signs, or opened your home for many town hall meetings, or knocked on my door for information collaboration, or posted on social media, or for those of you who could not vote for my re-election, you actually prayed that I would be re-elected. So thank you, and thank you to everyone who helped to enable me to be re-elected. Thank you. going on in terms of, you can applaud if you want. Continuing on, my positive campaign has been the most paramount activity for this month, but I have been able to attend at least a couple of businesses of the board, including the Rising Star Breakfast, which honors our students who are achieving and overcoming those obstacles that can prevent and derail academic success in school. And I'd like to acknowledge the schools that do recognize their Rising Star students. I think it's wonderful that you have their photos as well as their names. Okay. Continuing, I believe in local control of our school district. I believe in collaboration with other school districts. As the California School Board Director for Region 17, which includes 40 San Diego County school districts and the San Diego County Board of Education, I participate in the California School Board Association Board of Directors leadership meeting and the delegate assembly meeting, which represents over 1,000 school districts in California. As a member of the board of directors, I've been appointed, and this is for transparency, I've been appointed to CSBA Bylaws and Standing Rules Committee. And going on, one of our major concerns is the fact that the governor is continually attempting to take money from Prop 98 to fund the deficit, the California deficit. And we will continue to fight the government on that issue because Prop 98, which is the minimum funding for schools, it is part of the California Constitution and it's a part of the California Education Code. So again, I would ask all of you to be very vigilant and being aware of what's happening because those funds are very dear and very precious and very limited. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Eleanor. I give my report to Anne already. So moving forward, we're going to go to item 4C. Unfortunately, Chuck Joy, the president of CSEA, is not available tonight, so he will not be speaking. Item 4D, Oceanside Teachers Association.
Good evening. I am Tiffany Cooper-Ortega, and thank you for having me tonight. Congratulations to our new electees. I don't have a speech prepared, but I do have a report. So next slide, please. I would spotlight adjunct duty. For those of you that do not know what adjunct duty is, I would give you a quick definition of adjunct duty. It's defined to mean activities that are adjunct to a teacher's primary duties, activities not pertaining to a teacher's specific classroom duties. Next slide. So this is what our contract says. So sorry, I'm going to quickly read contract language, which is the most boring language that there is, but I'm going to be fast. In addition to the workday workweek requirements described above, employees will be required without additional compensation to render such additional adjunct duties as are normally required of the education profession. Bargaining unit members are required to attend up to 2 evening events not to exceed 2 hours per evening per school year as determined by the district. These events requirements are not considered adjunct duties. Immediate administrators will make a good faith effort to assign adjunct duty in a manner that tends to equitably distribute the duty among staff members. So normally those would be at elementary school open house and back to school night, and at secondary back to school night and graduation. Next slide. So let's look at what some of those might look like for adjunct duties. So North Terrace, by the way, some of these I totally stole from their websites. Some of these members sent to me, and not all schools are represented. So these are just some highlights. North Terrace, so it might look like a middle school dance. Next slide. It might look at Oceanside High. It might look like holding a council meeting in your classroom during your lunchtime, your protected lunchtime. You're hosting students in your classroom. It might be scorekeeping for a basketball game. Next slide. At Public Talk School of the Arts, it might look like hosting a talent show or holding auditions and callback auditions for Winnie the Pooh. Oh, Winnie the Pooh! Next slide. At King Middle School, it might look like holding a club or going to Barnes & Noble and holding a fundraiser or hosting a fundraiser. It might be being the coach for the basketball team or being a chaperone at a dance. Next slide. At Stuart Mesa, it might be helping out at one of the winter concerts or chaperoning one of the dance, Snowball or Candyland. Lots of dances in here. Next slide. At Nichols Leadership Academy, it might be, I think that's Aladdin. Yeah, it's participating, helping, and with Aladdin, it could be helping out at a movie night, organizing and helping out with the fun run, or helping out with the Boo Bash party. Next slide. At Conquest Elementary, it might be participating in their lighting of the tree ceremony, helping with their sing-along, reading books at their tree lighting ceremony. Looks like just generally having fun too, but also giving up their free time. Next slide. At McAuliffe, it might be hosting Love on a Leash while you write postcards to members that live in a retirement home. Next slide. At Santa Margarita, it could be being a part of your PBIS committee, organizing some of your assemblies, or also, what were they doing? Oh yeah, they were making Polar Express boxes late into the evening. Next slide. At Chavez Middle School, they were helping out with the orchestra and chorus concerts. They were also helping with their snowball social, and they were hosting chat and chew during their lunch break for students so that they felt welcome. Next slide. Okay, first of all, let me just say that I gave access to this slide, to this presentation, to a member from Surfside. Yeah, that's her right there. So Surfside doesn't have a PTO, and so they have to handle all of the fundraising themselves. So at Surfside, they organize all of the fundraising, they run all of the fundraising, they also handle all the grad blocks, and since they don't have designated coaches, they also handle all the sports themselves as well. Next slide. At Lincoln Middle School, it looks like hosting a fishing club during your lunch, and then over Thanksgiving break, holding a field trip where you take your students on a fishing trip. Next slide. So what I wanted to say is not only are the members in Oceanside helping out in the classrooms, they're instructing students, but they're also working overtime, doing their adjunct duty, which is required by their contract and by Ed Code, to make sure that students feel welcome and engaged, all of the things that make students want to come to school. And I want to say I appreciate them, I appreciate all of you, appreciate all of the things that the certificated members, classified members, and administrators do for the students of Oceanside. I wish you all happy holidays. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Christy. So we're moving on to item 5, public comment on agendized items. I just want to let you know there's a public video and photography section. We already have someone over there right now. We ask that you can video, but video from your seats or over in that designated area. Do not come up in front of the board and video the speaker. Also, I want to remind you of our norms that we have. So we treat everybody with dignity. We're going to use respectful language, be respectful of all speakers. We're going to try not to cause any disruptions, and we're going to adhere to the time limit, which is 3 minutes. We have 4 speakers that have public comment on agendized items, and I'm going to go ahead and call them up. So the first one is Brad Tobias. I have that you're speaking on D and E. Does that sound right? Yes. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Good evening, board, superintendent, and admin staff. Thank you for this time. So for AD, for those so we're all on the same page, it's under the new policy of discipline. Just real quick, in the 2024-2025 OUSD handbook that was distributed in I believe August to all of us parents, the practice of restorative practices was highlighted on page 14 as a disciplinary measure. Just want to know, just so I know like where my kids are going to. Will this new policy replace restorative practices? And if not, can you explain the differences to the public? On the next one, AE, which covers the recognition of religious beliefs and customs. First off, I'd like to say that, it's awesome that virtual prayer will not be discouraged and that religion is being added to the conversation, something I've been praying for a while, so I'm glad that it's being done. I believe it's a huge part because of the court case of the football coach in the Supreme Court. I think that's a huge part of it. So religion is often a key identifier for a person. I know for me personally, I'm a Christian, child of God, Jesus is my Savior, and I say Merry Christmas. It's a happy holidays. However, there are some questions that I have regarding that I think need to be addressed in the language on this policy right here. The first one is staff members shall be highly sensitive that their obligation not to interfere with the religious development of any student. My question to that one is, does that mean that if a Christian student feels uncomfortable with a pride flag being displayed or other materials being present, that those materials will be removed? Another point on this is the language says, quote, nor that a preference be shown for one religious viewpoint over another. On the subject of history, mainly U.S. history, there is, our founding was, as a nation, was based on Judeo-Christian values. And with that, is that a religious aspect of the founding fathers going to be removed from the material? If not, or if it is, I feel like it's not giving the full history of our nation and who we are as a country. If it is, hey, that's great, awesome. And I'm glad that the Christian heritage of our nation will be fulfilled and be presented in full spectrum for our students. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Patty Kay. Hello, Patty. I have you speaking on item 6BB. Does that sound right?
That probably sounds right on the scores. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, congratulations. You must be relieved. You voted in, the union voted in 2 members again. And what I mean by that is this is not...
Can you guys pause that, please? I just want to make sure, because this is on agenda items. We have...
I'm on agenda.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm on agenda.
I'm not accusing you. Can I finish? 6BB
Yes.
is approval of out-of-state field trip Oceanside High School. Is that what you're speaking to?
No.
What?
I looked at the agenda.
Okay. That's what I have marked. So I'm just making sure that we're on the same page as you.
Yeah, it's not, because the agenda, I looked at it. I copied.
You're doing CC then. 6CC?
Yeah, it was BB. Different, a different agenda?
No, I have the same one. Go ahead.
No, well, you don't have the same one.
Okay. You ready to go? We'll start again.
Okay, so I'm going to speak on the one.
The item you would like to see.
Whatever item it is.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, you must be relieved. The union got voted in, the 2 members that they spent the $73,000 allotted for. So it must be relief because you got the members in that will vote for your union raises again. I saw no mention in Ms. Vitale's diatribe on your accomplishments in 8 years of any academic scores.
And would you stay on topic?
Which brings us to the scores. And so in the last, which was delayed obviously because they came out earlier after the elections so that everybody would know. Okay, so at Jefferson High, the scores declined again. In English language, 60.35 failed to meet the standards. In math, 72.71 failed to meet the standards. At Chavez Middle School, and it did show over the decline over the last 2 years since 22 in English language and math, declined once again in the last testing score. And in Lincoln, in the English language, 64.29 failed to meet standards, and then in math, 77.43 failed to meet standards. So I guess there's a reason that you campaign from the basement, like a Joe Biden, because you are nowhere in sight when the reforms were present to compete with the other candidates. So basically, let's say it like it is, that was a race won by the unions for the unions, and it wasn't candidate against candidate. I also want to say that Dr. Sparks perhaps better watch his job
Are we
security.
staying on topic because you picked that student plans, school plans for student
Yes,
achievement, and I'm not
exactly.
sure how this fits in.
Wait, hold on.
No, I'm not pausing that.
Okay, I think this does go in with the student plan, which is really a lot of stuff put in there that's hard to decipher, so I quoted the grades, the scores. But I think all we see are the amount of money spent on buildings and DEI, and I think you better watch out for your job security because the way things are going, they're going to eliminate that. Fallbrook had a new superintendent for 1 year, just to let you know, and they achieved 2 state awards already in that 1 year's time on academic achievement. So it can be done, and I hope you all, Eleanor and Mike, will meet with us as we've requested in the past, and on probably a monthly basis would be good. Okay, do you agree to that? No way? No way. Eleanor?
Thank you for your time, Patty. Our next speaker is Emily Wichman. Emily, I just want to make sure for clarity, because I have a few written down for you. So I have 3A, but we already voted on that, so that's done.
Yes, but I still can speak on that.
And then you have 6C, am I correct? And 6B, and then 8D.
6C, what was 6C?
I'm asking you. The warrant list. And then 6BB. I'm just making sure before you.
Okay, well, let me start with,
Okay.
with 3A. I congratulate Eleanor for winning with 51% of the vote. We're very close. I'm going to be held accountable because I run against you, and I would like you to be transparent. I'd like to meet with you once a month. And if you'd like to meet in the superintendent's office so you'll feel safe, have whoever you would like in there, another board member. Because let me read the bylaw, the role of the board. The school board has been elected by the community to provide leadership and citizenship oversight of the district. The board shall ensure the district is responsive to the values, beliefs, and priorities of the community. The board will work with the superintendent to fulfill the majority of the major responsibilities, which include several things. Ensuring accountability to the public for the performance of the district's goals. That's another one of your things that you need to be doing. You need to be evaluating the superintendent. You need to be monitoring student achievement and program effectiveness and requiring program changes. So Mike, these are your duties. This is what you just held up your hand and said that you would do. I'm just sad that we didn't have a lawyer like we used to do when I was on the board. We had an attorney with his role inducting you, and that was very good. Also, too, you're supposed to be providing community leadership and advocacy on behalf of students, the district's educational programs, the public education in order to build support within the local community and at the state and national levels. That's what you guys just ran. And Mike, you ran 53%. So you were very close, and there's one half that wants that accountability. They want, and I would love to meet with you because I've got several questions. One of the questions were on the award list. You've got several things that I will email you what my questions, and so we can talk about it. And part of that is the money that is spent in transportation for charters, $750,000 for charters, $600,000 for furniture and equipment transportation, another $440,000 for cars again, if you guys are answering questions, I would like to know those questions. And as a community member, and we can sit down very amicably, you say you want to work together. That's what we need to do, because we need to get this out. Also, the policy, the discipline policy, AD, it was great to see that it looks like they're shelving restorative practices, which is not working. It's never worked, and you've never done it well in this district. So I was pleased to see that that policy that you just voted on, that didn't ask any questions about it. So some of your things that you spend a lot of time and money on restorative justice is going to be thrown out the way it looks like. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when I be talking to teachers about their restorative justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. All right, our last speaker is Janice, and I don't want to miss the name, Holoka? Holoka. And I have you speaking on item 6C, the warrant list?
Yes.
Okay, great. It's on you, Janice.
In regards to, I'm also speaking on agenda item 3G and item 6C, ratification of the purchase orders and warrant list. Pursuant to California Education Code, Section 35161, state law, the board may delegate its duties to the superintendent or designee, but it remains ultimately responsible for the performance of these delegated duties. Therefore, among other things, I question whether the board is fulfilling its responsibility to oversee district expenditures, particularly as this board meeting's purchase orders and the previous month's purchase orders were totaled over $42 million. And of course, these amounts do not include staff salaries, which rightly constitute the bulk of any school district's budget. And also, given that doesn't seem to be a listing of the paid warrants, I question whether the board is carefully monitoring what is being paid to whom and when. It is critical that the board exercise their fiduciary duty to scrutinize the district's financial decisions, particularly in this time of heightened fiscal challenges. For example, the November 12th board meeting included purchase orders of over $8 million just for special education certificated personnel, including over $2,900,000 for Row Health, over $2,400,000 for Maxim Healthcare Services, and over $1,700,000 for Stepping Stone Group, and plus various purchase order amounts for Club Excite, Therapy Travelers, Jabber Gym, Terry Inc., and Sound Therapies. Over $8 million seems like an extremely large amount to pay agencies to provide certificated staff for special education to supplement the district's staff. And I'm wondering why you have issues actually hiring certificate staff to fulfill these roles. Particularly as this is just on 1 month's POs, so there may have been and may be additional POs. And this amount does not include other special ed contracted services or general supplies, etc. This is particularly concerning given the results and that a large percentage of students with disabilities are not meeting the CAS standards in English language, arts, and math. So I hope you will really look at this and consider, how are you being successful in supporting your students with disabilities, and also the results of your English language learners are pretty low too, so with their achievement rates. So I hope you do better.
Thank you for your comments. All right, I'm moving on to the approval of the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second? We haven't done the minutes yet. I know I'm on consent, but we haven't done the minutes yet. Do we need to do? This general case? All right. All right. Moving on to general consent items. Do I have a motion to?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Eleanor. A second from Nancy. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the general consent items, say aye. Aye. All right, motion carries. Moving on to the next item. Seven is business. All right, we're going to start a public hearing regarding the annual developer fee reports. I don't even know at 6:09 p.m. I'm going to open the public hearing. Do we have any speakers? Okay.
Thank you, Dr. McGinn. The district must prepare an annual report of the developer fees collected for residential and commercial development projects within 180 days of the end of the fiscal year. The Capital Facilities Fund began with a balance of $21.6 million, and as of June 30th, 2024, we have $23.2 million in the account.
All right, do we have any public comment? All right, seeing none. Do we have any board or staff questions?
Sure. The balance at the beginning of the year is $21.6 million, and as of June 30th, 2024, we have $23.2 million in the account.
All right. All right, let's see no public comments. I'm gonna close this at 6:10 p.m. All right, moving on to item 7B, approval of resolution number 12, adopting the findings contained within the annual developer fee report for 23-24. One first and a second. Any questions or comments? All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving item 7B, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item 7C, first interim financial report.
Thank you, Dr. McGinn. We have a presentation tonight of our first interim budget report. The first interim report provides a summary of changes from September 12th to October 31st. During this presentation, we'll review the budget cycle, state, county, and local enrollment trends, summary of changes, assumptions, changes to revenue and expenditures, multi-year projection, and next steps. Next slide. Next slide. This here illustrates where we are in the budget cycle. Right now, we're on the second blue, and that would be our first interim. The next second interim will take place in March. Could you go back one? Now forward one. There we go. We're going to first start going from California down to county, down to our own Oceanside Unified School District. These graphics show how student enrollment is changing across California. As you can see, TK through 12 enrollment projections vary widely across California's counties. The different colors show the county level enrollment trends since 2013-14 and projected enrollment through 2033 to 2034. The dark red-brown colors represent the greatest decline of 10% or more, and the dark green colors represent growth above 10%. Enrollment in California's public schools has fallen by 6% since 2013, and demographic projections from the state suggest steeper declines of 12% over the next decade. Next slide. Here's another way of looking at the California region. Enrollment declines are projected in all but 2 California regions over the next decade. And you can see that one of them is the Sierra region at 3.1% growth and the Central Valley, North Valley region at 0.2%. Other than that, the dark shows the past from 2013 to 2023, and the more orange color shows projected 23 to 2033. So you can see there's not a lot of positive growth happening throughout California. Next slide. Here we have a simple bar graph showing California's declining enrollment, just another way of looking at it. This comes from the California Longitudinal Pupil Achievement Data System, also known as CalPAS. This takes place on Census Day, which is the first Wednesday in October. Statewide enrollment trends continue to experience decreases in enrollment. Since 2012-13, the state has experienced a loss of almost 400,000 students, and that's about 6%, as I mentioned before. Next slide. Here we look at San Diego County's declining enrollment. Even though it doesn't look as steep as what we just saw, this graphic shows how student enrollment has been dropping since 2012 and what is projected through 2031. This comes from the Public Policy Institute of California. San Diego and Imperial Region experienced a modest decline of 4.7% since 2013, but this trend is expected to worsen significantly with declines around 15.1% by 2033, the second highest projected decline among all regions. If we go to the next slide, we'll be looking at Oceanside enrollment data. Over the past 5 years, OUSD has continued to lose students annually. Moving into the 24-25 school year, we projected we would lose about 470 students. Fortunately, we only lost 398. Although this is great news, we cannot adjust our predicted decline in enrollment until we see more of a consistent pattern in our student enrollment trends. Next slide. Now we'll be getting into a little bit more of how we develop our budget and we monitor for a first interim. The following 2 slides show the assumptions that were used in preparing the first interim budget. Deciding factors for the budget for this year and the 2 following years are COLA. We saw a steep decrease in COLA from previous years. While we do see an increase in the next 2 years, the increase is minimal compared to what we've seen in the past. Our declining enrollment projections remain the same at 470, as I noted before. Our ADA is currently at 91%. One of the things with school funding is that we are funded on how many students actually attend school, not how many students are actually enrolled in school. So we have to staff and equip and be ready for everyone who enrolls, but we only get paid for the students who actually come to school. The decrease in staffing, we will continue to adjust staffing for classified, certificated, and management as we review enrollment projections. Health and welfare costs are estimated to be about 6%. Utility costs are estimated to be an increase of about 5%. Even though we do have solar going in, it's going to be a little while until we do see that. Eventually, though, we will see a positive trend with our solar. And then we have step and column. It's the annual increase provided to employees as they progress through the salary schedule. And this remains at an average of 1.5%. Next slide. This is the dartboard that comes to us from School Services of California. And here it's just showing you the different grade span factors. We receive funding differently for each of the grade spans. The TK receiving an additional add-on of just over $3,000. You can see that on the very bottom. The statutory goal of 1.07 has been applied to these base grants, increasing the amount just over $100 from last year to this year per ADA. Next slide. This also comes to us from School Services of California. This is also other planning factors that are considered. The funding amounts per average daily attendance are seen for the California Lottery and mandated block grant, that's up top. We also see the district's rate for employee retirement systems. The state teachers retirement system, or STRS rates, are projected to remain stable for the next 3 years. And the public employees retirement system, also known as PERS rates, are projected to continue to increase over the next 3 years. And lastly, we see the increase of minimum wage over the next 3 years, which has implications for our classified salary schedule. Next slide. Here we see changes in revenue. This slide shows LCFF revenue decreased slightly from the budget because of declined enrollment and lower than expected ADA. The federal and state funds increased because of additional revenue from grants. And we also saw a slight increase due to local funds. Some of this can be attributed to increased property taxes. Next slide, changes in expenses. Just as with changes in revenue, if grants come in after we do the budget, we add it in, and so you see a positive change. The same is true when we do receive a grant. While the revenue goes up, we will also see expenses go up because now we're spending that money that came in from the grants that we received. So looking at this, we have certificated and classified salaries. Those remain consistent. The cost of benefits is slightly lower than budgeted. And that'll be interesting as we go into second interim, because then we'll really start to see more of an adjustment on what happened with our insurance in terms of what employees chose and how they might have migrated to different plans. Books and supplies increased due to the purchase of curriculum materials, musical instruments, furniture, and technology devices. Many of these purchases were made from commitments or grants that were captured in the revenue, but expenses had not been placed in the books and supplies line, which is why we see an increase. So for example, we bought, I'll do this in the next one, we bought some buses. We had that in commitments. It wasn't in the line to buy them, which is why it looks like a greater expense, but we actually did have it in the budget. It was just another part of it. For services and operating expenses, an increase due to special education-related expenditures, increasing from the adopted budget and expenditures related to grants such as before and after school care and CalShape. So talking about our buses, looking at capital outlay and other outgo, the district continued to update the transportation fleet with 10 buses, 4 diesel and 6 electric, very exciting. And we also had our EV installed, so we're super excited about that as well. Jack repairs that were made across the district. Next slide. The multi-year projection, these are projections, not predictions. They're assumptions based on today's information, and they're expected to change as various factors change. So we'll go to the next slide. This slide shows the multi-year projection for the district's budget for the next 3 years. Revenue fluctuates from year to year based on LCFF assumptions, restricted funds, and grants. Expenses show a gradual decrease over the next 3 years as we are predicting that student enrollment will continue to decline. The net change in fund balance shows the difference between the amount of revenue the district will receive and the expenses. And the beginning fund balance decreases over the 3 years, which is in alignment with the estimated decline in student enrollment and the predicted lower cost of living adjustment. And the ending fund balance continues to decrease over the next 3 years. Remember, there are 5 components of the ending fund balance. There's always the 3% reserve, which is shown on the bottom. Any other funds above 3% that have either been assigned or committed, restricted funds, and non-spendables. All of those make up the ending fund balance. Next slide. Lastly, we have our actions to ensure continued fiscal solvency. We're going to continue to align staffing with declining student enrollment, reduce staff as funding timelines expire, monitor restricted funds such as titles and grants, incorporate updated revenue and expenditures as they become available for current and multi-year projections. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the first interim financial report for the 2023-2024 school years presented and certify the district's financial obligations for the current year and for the subsequent 2 fiscal years.
Thank you, Dr. Norman. Do we have any questions?
I do have a question. First of all, thank you for your very detailed report. But my question is, in terms of multi-year projections, are you, or is the district looking at potential new housing being built, being developed?
We do consider that when we look at our student enrollment. And so when we're doing our enrollment projections and we're putting that into the LCFF calculator, we take everything that we get from its NGT, which is Davis Demographics. So we're including that information, and then we also compare it to our CBEDs, and then we compare that. We kind of triangulate also with our current enrollment. So we take all of those to create our projections, which then we put into the calculator, which then allows us for our funding formula. So yes, we do.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding the reducing staffing. Is that going to be as the student decline, we're going to decrease proportionally? My concern would be, I just want to make sure that we're not increasing class sizes or we're not overloading our classrooms because we're trying to cut back.
Correct. We have a contract that stipulates exactly how our enrollment must remain. And so we would be changing that every year. We are able to make adjustments for the natural attrition, so we don't have layoffs and we don't change class sizes either.
I have a question about the changes in expenses. Can you explain service and operating expenses, how they went up so much again? Our budget was for 49, and first interim was 77.
Sure, that increased to special education-related expenditures, increasing from the adopted budget, and expenditures related to grants such as before and after school grants and CalShape. Those aren't the only 2, but any time we receive a grant or any funding after the budget, it gets added to our revenue, but then we also have to take what that's expected to be. So for to be specific, CalShape, that's a $6 million grant. So we'll add the $6 million to revenue, but now we have to add it to expenses. So it looks like we didn't budget for it, but we can't budget for it until we receive it. And also, we had money in commitments, which we voted for when we did the budget. We had quite a bit of money set aside for buses and for furniture and facilities. And so when we spend that money out of commitments, because it wasn't in that line item, it will look like additional expenses that were budgeted, but we did predict that we would need them, and that's why they were in our commitments. but that's exactly why the expenses look higher than what was budgeted. It's because they are, but because we also received more money or removed money out of assignments and commitments other than the budget.
Thank you for that explanation. Anybody else have any questions? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve our first interim financial report. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
From a first and a second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the first interim report, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to the adoption of board policy, district school attendance review board.
Thank you, Dr. Begin. The California School Boards Association provides policy guidance documents to assist districts with required updates. And this one speaks specifically to our school attendance review board, which most folks know as SARB. We run a similar process in Oceanside Unified called the SEAT team, which stands for Student Engagement and Attendance. And this board policy is just to reflect that we had a process in place at the district level to intervene when students become chronically absent. So we're requesting that the Board of Education adopt board policy 5113.12, which defines and describes our district school attendance review board.
Thank you, Dr. Sparks. I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second? All right, call for the vote. All in favor of adopting item 8A, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So the next one, item B, C, D, E, and F are all revision of board policy. I'll make a motion that we consider all of these at once. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a first and a second. All right, I'll call for the vote. The vote, what we're voting on is that we're making items B, C, D, and E one vote. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. So, do we want to go through each one of these revisions real quickly?
Yeah, we can just bundle it, you don't need to do that.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, I'll call for the vote on all items 8B through F to approve.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, okay. Trying to make a comment.
Just a quick comment, as far as all this coming together in the board policies, thank you for just putting all the work in to getting this all done, because I know it takes a lot of time and putting all this together and then getting it out to all of our school sites. So I appreciate all that work that's being put into it, and I know we've asked a million questions and have brought up many questions, so thank you for putting all that effort in for all of this, so thank you for all that work.
All right, moving on to item 9, public comments on non-agenda items. So at this point, it looks like we have 7 speakers. We have 7 speakers. Each of you will have 3 minutes. We have norms. I've gone into those earlier. When your name is called, you can address the board, and you have your opportunity to speak. I ask that people try not to do anything disruptive so the board can actually hear the public comment. So I'll turn it over.
Okay, so the first 3 speakers will be Brad Bias, Caden Bunkhouse, and Michael Mitchell.
Good evening again. First off, I wanted to say how the great speaker presenter from OHS kind of stole my thunder. I want to say, great news. This past weekend, the girls, the cheerleader, the varsity cheerleading team won CIF sectionals, which is awesome. First time in a long time they've done that. And also, last month they won their competition cheer team qualified for nationals in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is amazing. Super proud of them. It was awesome to see that. To that point, I want to recommend that the board funds the out-of-state trip for the OHS cheerleaders, similar to how they did, similar to how you guys did in general consent items Z and AA. These girls are representing the school, OUSD, and Oceanside and really California. I mean, that's awesome. Really proud of them. It will truly mean a lot for the student athletes and their families. Next thing, I would recommend a new board voting system. I feel like this is appropriate because we just witnessed the oath administered to the newly re-elected members, and I feel like it's kind of like topic, the president shall conduct an individual roll call so that the public can see the ayes or nays on the topic. Did you vote? And on it, you know what I mean? Or there is an online or electronic version of the voting system, such as Google Forms, and that can display the votes on the board. And also, it's great for record-keeping purposes too. These processes are free or at little cost, and for the individual voting methods and all the other stuff, it would only take about 10 or 15 more minutes of the meeting. These meetings seem to be getting shorter and shorter, but I think that like 10 or 15 minutes to show the transparency of the voting process will matter a whole lot to the public. Other than that, that's all I've got. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Brad.
First off, thank you all for letting me speak tonight. My topic today is about lacrosse. Hello, my name is Caden Buckhouse. I'm speaking today as a member of the Oceanside community. I want to bring attention to the growing interest in lacrosse at the Oceanside High School, as well as the absence of the program. Many students are eager to join and represent their school in this exciting new sport. Lacrosse is rapidly growing through the West Coast, and is becoming a staple in high school as a high school sport. For instance, Rancho Buena Vista, last year, Lear got a ton of funding and for the program, and a lot of new people joined. This highlights the increasing demand and support for lacrosse in our region. I strongly believe that establishing a lacrosse program at Oceanside High School will not only provide new athletics opportunity for students, but also bring pride recognition to our school. Thank you for considering this request, and I appreciate for your time and attention. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members, district leadership, and cabinet. My name is Michael Mitchell, and I'm here to address a critical concern regarding our curriculum and instruction, specifically the lack of accessible one-on-one support for our students who are struggling in essential subjects like math, reading, and writing. As a parent and community member, I've seen how challenging it can be for a child to succeed without the foundational skills that they need. Not all students learn at the same pace, and some require additional support to truly grasp concepts like fractions, reading comprehension, or essay writing. Yet our current system doesn't seem to offer consistent, accessible one-on-one tutoring or intervention programs for those who need it the most. When a child falls behind, there isn't a safety net to help them catch up, and these language gaps often follows them through grade levels, compounding over time. The consequence is clear. We're risking graduating students who are unprepared for college or the workforce because they lack basic math, literacy, or critical thinking skills. The concern is not hypothetical. It's happening right now. Many universities across the U.S. are reporting that incoming freshmen lack the fundamental math and English composition skills that should have been obtained in high school. As a result, these students are being placed into remedial courses just to catch up. These remedial classes are not only costly for students and their families, but also delay their ability to begin college-level coursework, putting them at a disadvantage from the start. This is deeply troubling, not just for the students, but for our entire community. As district leadership, your role in shaping and supporting effective solutions is critical. I urge the board and cabinet to work together to address this concern head-on. I understand that resources and funding are limited, but investing in one-on-one or small group support for our students is not just a solution, but a necessity. These interventions can make a difference between a student who thrives and one who feels left behind. This about academics, but it's about equipping our students with confidence and skills that they need to succeed in life. Together, we can ensure our district lives up to its commitment to prepare all students for a successful future. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing how we can work together to tackle this issue.
Thank you, Michael.
First of all, Eleanor, I would like to say that you're being disrespected by your peers. You're the one that's been here second to the longest, and you've only been promoted once. You're not even an officer for the last few years, so I'm really sad to see that. But they don't have to compliment you that you should be president by now. Should have been vice president, you can clerk. Okay, let me read something that was sent to me by a staff member. We are a few weeks away from first semester grades. The district's academic goal is to have all students with C grade or higher. Admin are meeting with teachers with a large percentage of D and F grades. This is something they tried when Bob Rowe was principal. I was on the board at that time, and I didn't know he was doing this. I wouldn't let that happen. There is pressure on us to change grades. I had a meeting today. They talked to us about classes, but focus on only the students in alphabet who had D's and F's. The kids with D's have some attendance issues and do a bare minimum of work. They have a D grade because teachers give them 50%. That's grading for equity. That's the new F for showing up. The F students are a result of ditching, absent, and not doing work. This is not right. The admin are not holding kids accountable for attendance. Here is proof. On Friday, we had 2,445 students enrolled. In period 1, 286 absences, 169 tardies. Then we have periods 2 through 6. The average absences are 245 and there's 60 tardies. There's a large pressure on administrators to move the D to C's and F to D's because funding for credit recovery was cut in half. The funding came from assets in the past. There was enough money to run 4 to 5 sessions of credit recovery. There's only enough money to run maybe 2, maybe 3 sessions. The other issue is finding teachers to teach the credit recovery. This is from a staff member that I think you as a board should know what's happening. That the grading for equity, just like restorative practice, is not working. And this is a staff member that has these issues, and it's just not one staff member. These are classrooms. These are staff people who want to do well for the kids, but they know the kids aren't learning anything. So you wonder time and time again why you're having absences, why you're spending money on cars, on all kinds of things. So what about our kids? What about the academics? And as it was told before, Fallbrook, I went to their last meeting, and they were so thrilled for their children, their kids that are learning, their staff that are learning, the superintendent that laid out the plan. It was hard, but they did it, and they're so proud of them. And that night they got that second award that is the honor roll award, not only for 4 schools, but for their whole district. And their kids are like our kids. They're great kids, they're good kids, and they can learn. As long as we have a leader that you need to hold accountable, that you need to be evaluating. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
Good evening, school board, Dr. Vitale, everybody else up here. My name is Maria Alshama. I am one of the district social workers.
My name is David, I'm also one of the district social workers.
So we're just here to highlight our team this evening. We have a team of 4 now, which is amazing and wonderful. You all have information, the data we wanted to share with you that's from August until now. The total number of interventions we provided are 930, and that's after receiving 254 referrals for our work. Something that we do as a team are a lot of home visits, especially for those chronically absent students we keep hearing about. If we we can't get a hold of them, they're not coming to school, we will go visit them in their home, try to find them, sometimes see what's going on. And that is one way that we build a lot of really strong relationships with our students and our families and engage them and encourage them to come back and let them know that we really want them back and that we are there to support them. There's a couple of families that I really want to highlight. 3 students who I have who, for a variety of reasons, have completely disengaged from coming to school. And through doing home visits and checking in with them, parents can text us and say, hey, my kid's refusing to go to school. We can show up in the moment, meet with them in their home. We have access to the DEI van that we can go and sometimes pick up students with their parents' permission to get them to school, like right then and there. So 3 of my students that I've been doing this with eventually transitioned over to Surfside, and all 3 of them, kids who were completely disengaged, 100% disengaged from school, got engaged there and are successful at doing their work and completing their classes. So super successful.
Yeah, so another day that we used the DEI van to pick up students was for a day called Campus Connections at King Middle School. Natalie, the principal there, did an amazing job of planning a day all about connecting students back to school with their counselors, with their friends, and with school clubs on campus, and with one-on-one mentoring that myself and some of the restorative practices employees helped us with. And yeah, so we picked up kids for that day. We went around and picked up kids. It was really fun. They got to see their friends in the van. It was a great day. I just personally wanted to say thank you so much for investing in the work that we do. We all as a team believe that children deserve to have their physical and emotional needs met, to be able to have equitable opportunities to learn at school and really blossom into the best version of themselves. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Mike, would you say something? Mike.
Well, congratulations, Mike and Eleanor. You won. But you did it using the Biden model, the Biden in the basement model. Relying on unions and hiding out to do it. Neither of you are willing to face the parents and taxpayers at candidate forums or public events. You assumed that the union would get you elected. We want to put you on notice that we're not deterred. We're not going anywhere. We have been watching you for over 3 years. We have seen your election of duty. When we tried to read to you the disgusting porn in your libraries, you cried out that it was not appropriate for adult audience here. We asked, what about the kids? You called us book burners. We tried to say we're only trying to protect the kids. When we ask about the test scores, the fact that over 70% of our kids could not do math, or 59% could not read, we were called extremists. We asked, why can't you teach them? That's your only job. When we ask about the fact that the district will be short, I thought it was $16 million. Tonight I found out it's $46 million. The district will be short $46 million this year. You ignore this. When I ask you to start teaching about the Constitution and to reinstate the Constitution test that was required for 8th grade graduation for decades, you look the other way. Well, I'm here to tell you, a new day is coming. When Donald Trump takes away your funny money and forces you to get back to educating and not indoctrinating, the tide will go out and everyone will see that you've been swimming naked. And that is not a pretty sight. I wish we could sit down and talk. We just want what's best for the kids. We're not sure what you want.
Thank you, Mike. I think Janice is next.
Allison Menu.
First, I would like to congratulate Trustee Evans on being reelected to the board. Based on our past communications in your role as a County Human Relations Commissioner, I believe you joined the board with genuine intentions to serve the community. However, the board as a whole seems to be failing the community it was elected to represent. This led Emily Wichman to ask me to get involved with Oceanside Unified as she deeply cares about this community and its future. As an educational consultant dedicated to supporting and protecting the rights of marginalized students, including students of color, multilingual learners, LGBTQ+ students, and students with disabilities, I am very disappointed in the actions or inaction of this board and Superintendent Vitale. In particular, the failure to meet with community members to address their concerns directly is troubling. By contrast, other elected officials, such as Congress Representative Mike Levin, State Senator Catherine Blakespear, and Assembly Member Lori Davies, seem more responsive and concerned. Additionally, Trustee Alvarez, it was particularly disappointing that you requested to join our meeting with Senator Blakespear's office and then failed to attend. Some of the concerns include the district's failure to properly address reports of bullying on multiple school campuses and the academic failure, including the large amount of students who failed to meet the CAS standards in English, math, and science. This particularly affects socioeconomically disadvantaged students, students with disabilities, and English learners. Also, Pablo top parents have repeatedly expressed their concerns about the unsafe conditions of the school campus due to the ongoing construction. For one, it's disappointing that the district leadership has not met with the Pablo top parents to address their concerns and instead seems to be retaliating. It is also concerning that there was such a lack of forward thinking and planning, which among other things meant that students started school without access to shade and water. And even though subsequently temporary shade structures were set up, they were taken down due to them being unsafe. And the list goes on and on. Therefore, I hope that going forward there will be improved planning and concerns about student safety and well-being, including as you go through the renovations of Jefferson Middle School. This community deserves a board and a superintendent that is both responsive and transparent, and I urge you to reflect on these concerns and take meaningful action moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice.
Allison?
Okay, so for the families at home, Mike had just been up here and he was addressing and then said something about the Biden method where he sits there in the basement and Mike Blessing, of course, had to chuckle on that, which was pathetic, really. But anyway, I hear, there's been some gracious congratulations to Eleanor and Mike, and for me, not so much. Over the years, I have sat in this very same room watching as this same board continues to always make a 5-0 vote. It's very sad and it's old. But sadly, many in our Oceanside community are still not as aware, and unfortunately, that may have something to do with no transparency in our district. For starters, you are the only district locally I know of that no longer broadcasts their school board meetings for families at home, and a school board that starts their meetings at 5, making it increasingly difficult for families to attend. But you as a board know this and continue to stay blatantly passive and negligent to the needs of our families and students. On Tuesday night, I attended a San Diego Union School District board meeting where they had one of the principals show up to give a presentation on how their high school is doing, including bringing back robotics with the help of a teacher and what they plan for the future. This I have not seen happen here in Oceanside School District. I also witnessed some school board members and newly elected school board members who all spoke after being addressed by a staff member, students, and stakeholders. It was refreshing to see a board that went one by one to acknowledge the speakers.
In the words of Dr. Norman tonight, you are projecting a continued decline in enrollment, and all I can say is, I wonder why. DEI is dead. Academics is where the focus needs to be. So hopefully this time around, you guys will, work together and work with the community and acknowledge the stakeholders that do attend here and really care about the children. And myself, who has 2 children in the school district, and I see a lot of lazy faces. I'm sorry, I really do. I see a lot of the same faces. Nancy, have you gone to the Pablo talk and address, or even had any communication back with the families? I'm really curious to know. Have you gone on the site? Okay, that's good to know. I really like hearing that. So continue to do that, but hold her accountable. All of you, hold Dr. Vitale accountable. It's about damn time.
Thank you. Thank you, Allison. That concludes our public comment tonight. The meeting is adjourned at 6:50 p.m. Have a nice night and safe holidays.